Lost my lapel pin. So it's that kind of day. But we gonna get it together. We gonna get it together right now. Over me. What's going on, everyone? All right. Hello, everyone. What's going on? It's Melvin Key, the CEO of MVP Protective Services, the founder of the MVP School of Executive Protection. I've been in the executive protection game for over 30 years, protecting high-profile VIPs at the highest level of government and corporate business. I also protect celebrities from time to time, but my main source of business, or the main clientele that I work with, is corporate executives, high level government officials and politicians, foreign dignitaries from other countries. That's my primary source uh, of clients that I work with. And again, I've been doing this for 30 years. Prior to that, I was a Washington, D.C. police captain, and I retired early and I started MVP Protective Services. And now we are one of the foremost authorities on executive protection in the country and possibly the world. So this is I come on every night from on, and I'm sorry, correction, on every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday when I am not working. As you see tonight, I'm a little bit behind the curve. I have on my suit and tie. I just walked in the door. I was looking at the time as I was driving down the highway, but I just finished a detail with two of my alumni students from the MVP School of Executive Protection, Daryl Jones and Shelby Blake. We're going to take some pictures tomorrow. We're going to post it, but we're working uh, downtown Washington, D.C. for some very, very high and some very important clients. And so, I said yesterday I'll be on, but yesterday I was traveling to get here for this particular detail. And then today we started working at 8 o'clock this morning. But if you on time, you're late. So I'm staying out quite a bit of ways away from the downtown. So it took me this morning 45 minutes to get there. So I got in last night. By the time I got into my hotel, I unpacked my bags, I took a shower. I kind of went over to some of the notes for today's detail. And by the time I looked up, it was 12:30 at night. And that was it, man. I went to sleep and I got up at 5:30, cut my hair because I was looking a little bit gruff, knocked the wrinkles out of my shirt, knocked the wrinkles out of my suit, and then got in my car. So I got downtown at about 7 o'clock. Shift started at 8 o'clock. We went through. We worked from 8 o'clock tonight, 8 o'clock this morning until just 10 o'clock tonight. So drove back out here. Looking at the time the whole time, I said I wanted to be on 10 o'clock, but I wasn't able to get on at 10 o'clock. So I'm here close. I'm 10:30, 10:40, but we're on. And so what my plan to do is to be on here every Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And because I didn't come on last night because I was traveling, I said I wanted to make sure that I'm on here tonight to keep my promise to you guys about the executive protection industry. So there's a lot of questions and there's a lot of misconceptions about who can be an executive protection agent. I can just honestly tell you that some of the things that I'm hearing, some of the things that I'm seeing are just not true about who can be an executive protection agent. And when those of you who are watching and who don't know what an executive protection agent is, that is in short terms a word, a bodyguard. We say bodyguard, but if you're in the executive protection agent industry and you're doing the work, if you say, "Yeah, I'm a bodyguard," the people in the industry say they like the big words and the talk and all of that good stuff. And so he don't know what he's doing. He's talking about. He says bodyguard when the technical word is executive protection agent. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I've been doing this for 30 years, but I try to, what they say, keep it simple, stupid, or something like that. Keep it simple, stupid, or something like that. I try to kiss it. I try to keep it as simple as possible, break words down into the, micro terms so people can get it. For example, so if we're saying if your transitional spaces is what we call it, getting into and out of cars, right? If I say, yeah, well, he was getting into or out of a car, they gonna say somebody who's in this business, quote unquote, because everybody wants to sound guru-ish. They say, yeah, it's in bus and D bus. No, no, they got in a car and they got out of a car. You can put whatever words that you want on it. What's going on, Oleg? I don't know if he calling me Cap for captain because I was retired police captain, or he's calling me Cap, or he's just saying Cap. But if he's saying Cap in another word, I don't know. I don't know the person individually. But if he's saying Cap like I'm lying, then he hasn't done any research on who I am and what I do and what I've done for this executive protection industry worldwide. So I try to keep the words simple, right? Keep the words simple, not in bus, D bus, getting in, getting out of the car. Everybody understands what that is, right? Entering and exiting buildings. And I like to talk about those terms the most is because those are the most dangerous times when you're working in executive protection for you to be inconvenienced or attacked or killed. And I have countless videos on this YouTube channel that you can just walk through. I mean, you just breathe, what you call binge watch or whatever. You just breeze through and just look at where people are getting assassinated at. Greeting lines, vehicles, and walking in and out of buildings. And the detail I was on today, there wasn't just our detail. We were working with the U.S. Marshals. We had bomb dogs. We had Secret Service there. We had State Department. So happened that we just happened to be in charge of the entire detail, and they were working inside of the bubble with their own principles, right? So um, we work with some high profile people. And guys, give me a sec. I don't know if y'all can hear it, but it's an echo where I am. I'm in a hotel room, so the sound is bouncing off of this wall. So I'm gonna try to modify the sound for a little bit by putting some pillows back there so the sound doesn't bounce back this way. But give me 1 second there. I literally will be 1 second. Yeah, maybe this will help. Yeah. All right, see, that's perfect. Well, it's better. It's better. I don't know if it's perfect, but it kept the sound from bouncing back. I'm the most humble person. Aaron, I bet you are, man. Thank you for joining the chat. Nonetheless, free Palestine. Yeah, free Palestine. Free Luigi. Luigi. That's one of the things I'm going to talk about, man. I'm going to talk about Luigi probably next week. When I say Luigi, that's Luigi Mangione. That's the man who killed, allegedly assassinated Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare. I was actually on the scene of that about a month ago. I did a live from that scene. And you can probably just go through my lives and see it. It should have his picture up there. I did it the same day the next day after the dude went into the NFL building down in New York and shot those people, killed 4 people, including himself, making that 5, and shot 4 others. So I was down there. I covered that story, and then I went over to the Hilton Midtown Manhattan where Brian Thompson was killed. And that was quite a scene. It was nostalgic just being there and being able to walk up, and maybe I'll post some pictures tonight. See the gunshot, the ricochets from the gunshots in the ground where it broke up the concrete, and just to know that that man was walking there without executive protection, without bodyguards, and he felt like nobody knew him, so he could go to this meeting which was publicized on United Healthcare's website. It was an investors meeting, where it was going to be, what time it was going to start. And this is where I had a conversation with one of my guys. I really do. I love him. Great guy. He worked with us today, and I always say on time is late. So he texts me like maybe 30 minutes saying 30 minutes before reporting time, saying I'm 15 minutes out. And I already said, and I told him that on time is late. We should have been here an hour ago, because remember when Luigi Mangione assassinated Brian Thompson, he showed up an hour before the conference started. So his on time. So we're not on our own on time. We are on the assailants. We're on the stalkers, the assailants. We're on their on time, because they got homework to do, just like we got homework to do. Because if they do their homework, they can assassinate our principal, the person that we're protecting. If we do our homework, we make it impossible or damn near impossible to assassinate the person that we're protecting. So, one of the things today that I saw, and me and some of my peers, or I call them, they're my students, my proteges, and I love those guys. One, what the hell? If One of the things we did, we observed the teams, the quote unquote professional teams who came in and out of the building today, and we watched how people who walk VIPs right in through the rotating, we call them the rotating doors. These are EP quote unquote professionals, guys who get these jobs walking right outside of the right through the rotating doors. And that's your glass coffin. You walk through a door, somebody see you and they stop the door, they shoot you. That's your last place standing. So we always recommend when you're doing executive protection work, never walk a principal through a rotating door. And that's how you can tell who's really top of the game and who's not top of the game. There's a rotating door, there's a door over here, there's a door over here. We take one of those doors on the opposite side of the rotating doors, but never go through a rotating door. So if you're watching this and you do executive protection work or bodyguard, whatever you want to call it, make sure that you don't do that. So we watched that. Then we watched these guys walk to 334 in the house. Thank you, brother. Thank you for coming on, and thank you for the comment. I really appreciate you. Um, we watched the agents walk their principals to the car. I saw one guy put his principal in the front seat, and then he got in the back seat. That was odd to me. I've never seen that before. I got to be honest with you, but he was with a high profile person. He put the person in the front seat. He got in the back seat. I watched how they opened the doors. I watched how they move. I watched how the close protection person moved in front of the lead person, and the lead person kind of took the back seat. And sometimes that's possible that may happen if you're walking the principal to the door. I always say that the only person that opens and closes that door is the actual close protection officer, not the advanced agent, not the support agent. So there may be a point at some time when you're getting close to the vehicle that the close protection officer, the person who's responsible for your principal, that person may step in front and take the lead and open that door so that the principal can get in. So, in this case, I just saw them kind of moving and switching positions with no real purpose for it. And there's times when everybody, well, I say everybody I work with, all of those guys know all the positions. They know all of the positions. So there's times when we may be going through maybe a certain area, right? And it calls for adjustment. We know how to adjust, and we know how to get back to our position without nobody really jockeying for space. So I may move a certain way. I see, especially my former partner Reggie Carswell Gunner. You guys can look him up on Instagram at Gunner Detail. Tell him I told you to follow his profile. If you follow him, shoot him a message and tell him I told you to follow him. Probably one of the best guys that ever done it. Man, we've done so much stuff together. It's insane. So whenever I'm working with him, he's me and I'm him. If I ever get out of position for whatever reason, I know that he's going to fill a position just like that, and I can go to his position, and we'll maintain that. We'll maintain that, that formation, or that our positions in that formation until it's time when it's convenient for us to move back to our regular positions. But you can't do that with everyone. And that's why when people ask to be on my details, I don't work with everybody. I want to know what protection school you went to. A lot of people feel like I'm asking that question because I want them to go to my school. But of course, I want you to go to my school. I mean, why not? I feel like it's the best school in the world. Right now, on the private industry, I feel like my executive protection school, the MVP School of Executive Protection, is the best executive protection school in the world. But again, there are a whole lot of people who watch this and then they say, "Oh, he's what do you call it? He's bragging, he's posturing, or whatever, whatever." I'm not bragging or posturing. I'm just stating a simple fact based on what I see. based on people who've gone to other classes and come back to my school, come to my school because they wanted to take my course for whatever reason, one reason or another. What they've learned, a lot of times I have to teach people to unlearn that, and I'm giving them curriculum, and I'm saying this is why. If I tell you, I say like this: if somebody teaches you to do something, there should be a reason why they tell you to do it. They should be able to explain that. They should be able to say the reason why you open the door like this is because, right? But there's some I can't really explain it, right? So if you go to a car and you're putting somebody in, let's just say the person is here, this is the person in front of you, you walking up to the car, and you go grab the door handle. What side of the door, when you open the door, where do you stand at? Just where do you stand at, and why? So there was one guy that came to my class. He went to another class. He says, "Well, they told me to hold the door like this." And I said, "Well, why you think they told you to hold the door like that?" They said positive control. This is a firm used in the Secret Service and some other places. Positive control is true in Secret Service, but the person holding the door, that is his only flipping responsibility on the detail, is to really hold that door, because that door weighs a couple of 100 pounds. Most of you guys who are working in executive protection won't have an armored car. You don't need to hold that door like that. And the reason that they're holding that door is because once if you as the close protection person has to, let's say gunfire erupts and you have to put that person into your principal into the car, you can't reach back and grab that door. But the person on the other side of that door can push that door and close that door. That's why they stand on that side of the door. But if you're working in a regular SUV, sedan, or whatever you are, you don't want to open the door and then stand on this side of the door. So this is the door. Here, you open it, boom, it opens like this, and then you're standing on this side. Why don't you want to do that? The reason is because there's no protection on this side. At least if you open the door, boom, the door's open, and you stand this way, you got this backside covered. The door down gives you some form of coverage. It's not going to stop bullets, but it can slow them down or change the trajectory. And that's that little bit of change in trajectory, or that little bit of slowing the bullet down, could save your life and your principal's life. So we open the door this way. Make sure that that door is firmly open. Your principal gets in. You're shielding this way, you're covering this way, so nobody's coming from your backside. The door is giving you some kind of cover from this side. Your principal can get in the car, and then you can close the door. And the principal, you, the principal is in the car, and then you, as a close protection person, get into the front seat. So I have people who try to I love it when they try to review, critique my videos. So I ask them who taught you that, because the way I've learned it, I'm following strict Secret Service and the Department of State um, curriculum. This is pages right out of their book. So I'm not making this shit up. A lot of people just come up with whatever they feel like is appropriate. Um, but there's a rhyme and a reason to why we do everything we do. I got a comment here. Let me read this comment real quick. Reggie Coswell used to be my apprentice when we used to close protection for Britney Spears. Crazy stories. Mola Santa, I think I've heard him talk about you, man, from that time. Love Reggie boy. That's my man, Stone Cold Pro. Yeah, Reggie is Stone Cold Pro, man. And me and Reggie, you guys don't know Reggie, but Reggie Coswell, we were running the business, man. We ran it up through COVID. We survived through COVID. COVID was a mother effer, man. Like, if you survive COVID as a business, you can survive anything. And we were on the same page, and then we kind of fell. We had a little bit of differences. Then you in this business, this is a dog eat dog world. People will be jealous of you. They will spread rumors about you. They will try to run uh, They will backstab you. They will try to run your projects, and you run you off a course. And so me and him kind of fell out, but as men, this is another thing. You can fall out with anybody. As men, you need to be able to also go back and reconcile, right? Because this is Reggie Coswell is truly my brother, man. I take a bullet for him. And so I was so hurt that we actually fell out and we never had a conversation. It was some basically the basic he said, she said, and him and I never really had a conversation. So I talked to him the other day. I don't know if you guys watched this. I'm not a Cowboys fan, I'm a sports fan. But there's a documentary on Netflix called The Gambler and His Cowboys or something like that. It's about Jerry Jones and the Cowboys in the 1980s, 90s, and Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, all of that, and Jimmy Johnson. So they talk about Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson, and they said they were that dynamic duo. And much like me and Gunnar Coswell, they fell out for whatever reason. Somebody in there, what in the other one's ear, what it was really crazy. But at the end of that documentary, I believe it was the last episode, what they said was, what if, I think it was even Jimmy or Jerry, they said, what could we have been if we never fell out, if we never fell apart, we stuck together, stuff like that. And I called, after I watched that documentary, I called Gunner. I said, man, listen, I need you to watch this documentary because just that phrase right there was moving to me. Because me and Gunner was winning together. I said, what could we have been if we just stuck together? We had the hottest live stream stuff going on. We had all the executive protection details going on. We were breaking in and taking a lion's share of the executive protection training business. And people became very jealous. And that's why they were tried to drive that wedge and effectively did so much so. But Reggie is my man. He has his own company. He's still a true professional in his own right. And I have my own company. But our plans were, we had a 5-year plan. This was before COVID, to sell by right now, we would be selling the company. Our goal was to sell for 100 million. I'm a little bit behind, but still, I have my 2-year plan for retirement. I'm going to retire, and I'm going to enjoy my time with my family. I'm going to enjoy my time, fishing. I'm going to enjoy, all that. My grandson, and just live, because I go so many places around the world. People say, "Oh, you went to Greece, you went to Turkey, you went to Egypt, you went to Saudi Arabia." You went. I like. How were these places? How was it? I said, I'm be honest with you. I can't even tell you, because we get in, and we go to work from the time we get in. You're crossing time zones. Basically, what you see is when you look out the window of the airplane, you can see that. You can break out your phone to get some good video. And then you off to the races. You landing. You're doing advanced work, route planning. You're doing all of this good stuff. And then your client, if you're not traveling with your client, and you got to go pick your client up, and then you're with your client. So you might go to some good restaurants or something like that, and some 5-star restaurants, depending on what kind of clients you have. You might get to talk about that a little bit. And when you're doing corporate stuff like we do, it's not like, hey, your client is going sightseeing or they're going vacation. They're going there for work. So they're going there for work. You're going there for work. So we never really get to see anything. So maybe a couple of restaurants, see some of the downtown scenes, or when you're driving through, or whatever that is. Then it's back to the airplane, and you're off to the next place. So I like to go to some of them places that I've been and really get to enjoy it. Go to the beach, see some of the museums, see some of the history and stuff like that. So my plan, and this is why I talk about executive protection so much, is that my plan is that when I die, when I leave, that I would never die. I will never leave. I plan to. I'm building an army of people, and they won't even work for me. I'm building a bunch of me's, but uh, prototype 2.0 that's better than me, giving you guys the skill, the character, teaching you how to navigate through this crazy dog eat dog world, survive, and not only survive, thrive, to be the best that you can be in this business. And there are a lot of misconceptions. There are a lot of misconceptions about who can be a EP agent, a bodyguard, a close protection agent, whatever you want to call it. I see somebody say, "You ex-military law enforcement." Yes, I am ex law enforcement. I was in the Washington D.C. Police Department from 1989 to 2004. No, sorry, 2000. I retired in 2007. Correction. So 1989 to 2007. So a little bit, almost 19 years. I retired as a police captain. I was the youngest police captain ever in the history of the Metropolitan Police Department. I was the youngest lieutenant. I was the youngest sergeant. So if they ever wrote a book about the Metropolitan Police Department in D.C., they could not write the book without putting my name in it. I retired from PTSD. I was involved in 7 shootouts, 2 of them fatal. And at that time, I decided, it's time to do something else. So I took my ball and went home. And I said, what am I going to do? I grew up in the projects. I had to protect three of other my brothers. I can pretty much become a man at a really young age. And then I saw my community get dilapidated, and I went into the law enforcement. And I just was had always had this protective nature. So I got out. I'm just gonna go back to being a protector. Okay, yeah, I will. So I got into the protection business, and a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, you only get the clients that you get, and you only got to the status you are because of who you were in the police department, or because you was a police officer." And this was the title of this live. Some of the biggest myths in executive protection is that you have to be a police officer to be an executive protection agent. Trust me, or bodyguard. You don't need to be a law enforcement officer. You don't need to be a military soldier. You don't need to be a Marine, a Navy SEAL, an Air Force person. You don't need to be none of that. Now, actually, some of those people make the worst executive protection agents that I ever met. In fact, I will not hire anybody who's a police officer just because they're a police officer. And people get mad. Oh, if they see this title, if I say police, if I typed on here police officers make the worst executive protection agents, I have 2 million people on here right now just so they can curse me out and tell me I didn't know what I was talking about and I was an asshole and all of this good stuff. But like I said, because I was a police officer, didn't make me the executive protection agent that I am today. It helped because I was working in downtown Washington, D.C. So what's down there? The White House, the Capitol Hill, State Department, all of that stuff. So I had the opportunity to meet with these people. And every day in Washington, D.C., we have a POTUS, that's President of the United States. POTUS has a motorcade. He's going to Andrews Air Force Base out Maryland. He's going to some other location, the Capitol Hill, whatever. He or she, POTUS, the president, vice president, we had all those things. So we had to work hand in hand with the Secret Service, with the State Department, with these different embassies. And so when a lot of those guys, I just made friends with them, network, made friends. When they retired, a lot of them started executive protection companies because I was friends with them. They brought me in, they taught me the business. I really learned on the job. Really learned on the job. And not to say that none of you guys can't learn on the job, but many people won't give you an opportunity to learn on a job, right? And it's like police officers believe, yeah, I could be, yeah, put me on your detail. I can, be executive protection agent. Okay, no, why? Why do you feel like that? Most of them feel like that because they've got the no look pass, and people gave them executive protection jobs because they were police officers, and technically they could carry a gun. And the clients that hire people feel like the police can get away with law, get pretty much break the law, and circumvent a whole lot of stuff, which is in a lot of cases true. But if the police departments that they work for found out that they were moonlighting doing executive protection work, a lot of them would get fired. That's the truth of the matter. They can't take their personal gun and work for somebody in private security without getting that approved. You can't do that. On most major police departments, maybe some of the smaller ones, major police departments, you cannot do that. And the reason a lot of clients don't know, they just know they want somebody with a gun, and law enforcement can get passes from other law enforcement. That maybe it's more a little bit easy to move with, but they don't understand that these police officers don't know what executive protection agents know. And so police officers get mad when I bring this out. Military veterans get mad when I bring this out. But just think about this, right? In the police academy, they don't teach you how to be an executive protection agent. In the military, my son just graduated from boot camp. What he knows about executive protection is he learned from his father from the time he was a kid till the time he's 25 years old. When he went to the military, they taught him how to do push-ups, sit-ups, um, uh, carry a rucksack, build a fire, all of that type of shit. Shoot an M16. That's what they taught him. They didn't teach him anything about executive protection. In fact, in fact, um, some of those guys, I had one guy who came out of the military, and we was giving him gun training. And I said, "What are you, right-handed or left-handed?" He said right-handed. And he put his left hand up. I said, "Right-handed?" And he said, left-handed. This motherfucker is dumb. You understand what I'm saying? So just because he went to the military doesn't make him an ideal executive protection agent. It boils down to, say, I've spent 30 years in executive protection. I was a police officer. Let's just say I wasn't a police officer at all. I mean, I was never a police officer, but I did 30 years in executive protection. And you guys on here, all of you guys are on here watching. You are actually police officers. But I showed up to your police district, and me and you friends. I say, all right, let's go, dog. Boom. I ain't even gotta be friends. Let's go, dogs. Put me in your car. I got my gun. I've had a gun for 30 years. I protected people for 30 years with a gun in private security. I should be able to, should I be able to get in your car and then go fight crime in Chicago? Would you want me as your partner? In DC, Southeast DC? Would you want me as your partner when I don't know nothing about the crime? You know what I'm saying? I just carry a gun, just like you can carry a gun on the executive protection detail. I can carry a gun. So, and I've been doing security, private security for 30 years. Does that make me a police officer? The, the resounding answer is no. It doesn't make me a police officer because I didn't learn how to enforce the law in executive protection. I didn't know how to interpret the law in executive protection. They didn't teach me how to handcuff people in executive protection. They didn't teach me about pepper spray in executive protection. They didn't teach me how to write a ticket in executive protection. None of that. They didn't teach me any of that. So how can I come to your job and do your job, but you feel like you never, but you all you did was be a police officer, go to a police academy and work, say 10, 15, 8 years, however, but you can go right into executive protection when they never taught you anything about executive protection. And I started to ask people, what do you know? And I love this one. When people finally decide they're going to come to class to executive protection before they get in, before we start anything, here's your test. Here's your 30 question quiz. Since you know every goddamn thing, excuse my language, since you know everything, here's your 30 question quiz. Answer those questions. Though people can't answer those questions because they never learned it. It's easy to say, hey, walk in front of this guy. Hey, you stand over there. Hey, get back. No pictures, no photos. That's what people do. That's what they think executive protection is. I can tell you today, we worked 14 hours. I got there at 7 a.m. The shift started at 8 o'clock. We left out of there at 10 o'clock. That's 14 hours, right? So really 15. I got there at 7 o'clock. So here's the deal. Here's the deal. Um, I lost my chain of thought. Oh yeah. So here's the deal. So it's all of that pushing through the crowds and telling people back up. We ain't do none of that. We stood outside of conference rooms and ballrooms, got VIPs to where they needed to in the facility. Most of it was boring. We didn't do nothing. I'm like, man, you can't be on your phone. This ain't no police where you sit standing in or security guard stuff. You sitting in your cruiser or standing in front of a door. When people ain't, you got downtime and get bored, you pull out your phone and scroll through Instagram, watch Goat TV, or whatever. TikTok. It ain't none of that. Because if somebody see you on your phone, then there's a problem paying you too much money to be on his phone. Why is that guy over there on it? Why are we paying him all that money? He's on the phone. So you ain't on the phone. You just standing there. You better have some comfortable shoes. For me, these are Cole Haan zero grands. I tell everybody to get these shoes. Cole Haan zero grands. Make sure if you work in executive protection, you don't have those church shoes on. There's a video with the San Jose mayor when he gets into a tussle. It's right here on my YouTube. You just look up for something about the mayor. It's San Jose mayor's bodyguard, who was a police officer who never went to executive protection school, but he's a police officer and he decides that he's going to handle a situation, but his way of handling the situation again is like a police officer, not executive protection agent. Because on the right side here of here, the mayor was standing giving a news conference. On the right side of the mayor was an open door. And this guy walks up talking shit. And he's just, if he's talking shit or not, and this guy's a potential threat. Instead of the agent saying, hey, Mr. Mayor, go into this door right here. Let me handle this. Or come on, let's go into this door and tell this guy passes. This guy doesn't act like an executive protection agent. He acts like what he is, a a police officer, and he goes hands on with this guy, and they get to tussling in the street, and the guy gets to smacking him around, and he got those shiny church shoes on. He looked good. He got on tapered leg suit. He looks good, and church shoes, and there he slips on that church or with them church shoes on that ground. That guy commences whooping his ass, right? Because he's not a police officer and he wasn't equipped. He was, I mean, he's not an executive protection agent. He's a police officer trying to do an executive protection agent's job. And that's myth number one. Military too. So people say, "Oh yeah, military is better than police because they learn." No, they don't. They don't teach you how to walk in. They teach you how to walk in a platoon. They teach you how to walk in a squadron. If you weren't a Navy SEAL or Special Forces where you got to go in and get people, or you were on a PSD Protective Services detail while you went in the military, you don't know shit about executive protection. I'm just gonna be 100% honest. You don't know anything. Those guys, that Navy SEAL or Special Forces, they can come out and I mean they're quick learners. The Navy SEALs, you got to learn all these different languages. You got to shoot 100 different weapons, and but you can do this job. I would be honestly, even though they don't know the nuances, I think I can. I don't have to put them through a full course. I can say, okay, listen, you guys gonna have abbreviated course. It's gonna be like maybe 16 hours to go in here. I'm gonna teach you the basic stuff, but they already know that because when they go on these drills, they got to do route planning. They got to escort. They got to escort prisoners. They got to escort VIPs. These they already know that stuff. So it's really no real need for them to go out, come to an executive protection class, not unless they want one. But the regular Army, military, Air Force soldier, they know nothing about executive protection. What's the other one? I saw a guy. He followed me the other day on Instagram. Really nice, a nice guy. And I didn't. I mean, I just really didn't know what to take of it because he didn't say anything to me, but when I read his profile, it says again, executive protection, bodyguard, 6'5", 270 pounds. So that's myth number two. Myth number one is that you could be a police officer, a military veteran, and that qualifies you for the job. Myth number two is that size makes you a good bodyguard or executive protection agent. That is the furthest thing from the truth. I think a person is an idiot to say it to put on your thing. And I'm sorry if any big guys on here. I mean to offend you, but I think if you put on your profile that you 6'5", 6'7", 6'8", 200 and something pounds, that you're a good bodyguard. I think I really do. I think you're an idiot or you really misconstrued or misconceived about what this job is about. Well, please tell me how that benefits you other than somebody being intimidated by you. I know a lot of big guys are soft. I've knocked a lot of big guys out in my life, and I'm barely 6 feet. Right now, I'm about 185 pounds, but I can fight. Right, Greg, it makes a good bouncer. It makes a good bouncer. That's what it makes. For me, um, it doesn't matter, and especially there are some places people aren't intimidated by big guys. Actually, that's an invite for a fight because you feel like you can intimidate a guy, but some of these street people and people who know how to fight, they're like, come on, come on. And because of your size, you think you can enforce your will on people, which means that now you got to get into a struggle and a tussle with people to prove you are who you are. But while you pushing and struggling and fighting with somebody, ain't nobody protecting the person that you're supposed to be protecting. And that's your flipping job. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to protect them. All right, big man, or whatever. I'm gonna keep it moving. And they like to push people out of the way. You ever seen these guys who, especially ones who work with the entertainers, they just get to pushing people out of the way. People get intimidated. I tell you, with just an instant, right? It's kind of comparative. When I was a police officer, I thought this was good until I really, really realized it wasn't good. Now, you could back in the day, you carry a shotgun. This is before we had rifles. I had a rack in the car in my patrol car. I get out in the hood through a disturbance, get my shotgun and rack it. And you figure like back in the, sometimes it worked. People like, oh shit, they got it, yeah, and they start moving. But then there's somebody who's not intimidated by the shotgun that know that you can't shoot them for any reason, and now you got to fight, and you can't say, hey, who you gonna get a gun to? Hey, hold this. You can't put it down, and you can't shoot somebody for trying to take a gun from you. Not unless it's on your hip and they trying to pull it out, but if you in here fighting, and I mean you pulled out a shotgun and y'all tussling, You can't shoot him, man. I'm gonna be honest. Well, I mean, you probably they probably will justify it in some things, but you had the gun and you put yourself in a bad situation. So you got to really kind of think through this stuff in executive protection. This that's nothing to do with gun. I'm just using that as opposed to size because people are using their size thinking that it intimidates people. It's like the shotgun didn't intimidate everybody when I was a law enforcement officer. Your size doesn't intimidate a lot of people either. I'm not scared of no big dude. Not one big dude. And when I see a big dude, I'm ready to fight. You know the person that I would be scared of? I would be scared of the 5'5", 5'3" guy that be talking shit. That's the person I'd be scared of because I say he must know something that I don't know. He 5'3", 5'4", 5'5", and he talking shit like he gonna kick my ass. I'm worried of that guy. The big guy I ain't worried about at all. Because that's all he has is size in most cases. If he had something else, he wouldn't be saying I'm 6'7", 6'6", 6'5", 280 pounds. Right? Right. Frank says try and learn some karate. So for me, I studied Krav Maga, and I don't practice Krav Maga anymore. I still know it. I don't go to a dojo with Krav Maga. I actually train in Muay Thai, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I used to train in Japanese jiu-jitsu, but then I moved over to Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and I do Muay Thai, and I've done Wadaru karate. And I also do kenjutsu. So if you guys remember my old office, I always had those swords on my behind my desk on my wall. So I don't do kenjutsu anymore, but I still know the craft. But I like to fight. Honestly, I don't even know. I got to be something like a screw loose. I like to fight. I like when people get bold and get their egos all swole up because I know what I can do in a fight. So I actually like to fight, but I try to be that peaceful warrior and try to kind of just move away from that stuff because I think I'll just black out when I get into a fight. And, uh, you know, it's just like, I guess, a pit bull type mentality. And that's not what I want to do. But size does not matter. Honestly, I know some little guys. One of my guys who trains our close quarter combat, his name is Idris Ruley. Idris is about 5'6", 5'7". I'll put him on any big guy that you send to me. I promise you. If that dude don't come back broken, bruised, in the hospital or crying, I give you $1,000,000. Idris will beat him up two at a time. I'm telling you, Idris is about 5'6", 5'6", maybe 165. Baddest, one of the baddest people I ever seen in life. And I like to fight. I ain't even trying to fight Idris. I ain't trying to spar with him or nothing because I know I done seen the man and what he can do. So don't let size fool you. What's another myth in executive protection? A lot of people feel that guns are like, the go-to thing in executive protection. Guns are not the go-to thing in executive protection. I work on a lot of executive protection details. The job that I was on today, they requested they requested guns, and I'm going back to that job tomorrow, so I'm not going to be on here long before you guys. Guns are not a big thing in executive protection. Do I have a gun? I got a lot of guns. They requested guns for this detail. I said, okay, cool. When part of your executive protection work is advanced work, so called the facility yesterday, told them I was going to be coming down to do some more advanced work this morning, and they asked, what we were going to be doing, and then I asked, are guns allowed on the premises? And the security director said, no, guns aren't allowed, or we don't allow any guns on the premises. Now, I'm a retired law enforcement. I could have completely ignored that, but I'm respectful of this man's venue and the relationship that you have to build because when you go in different places, you don't want to leave a bad relationship or bad taste in somebody's mouth. They weren't going to come pat me down for a gun. I could easily carry my gun in there, but they said they didn't want guns in there, so I left the gun. I left the gun back at the headquarters, and that's just what it is. But a lot of people believe that guns, I got to get my gun certification. I said, for what? Because I'm a worker this executive protection. I want all my credentials. Fine. It's better to on our shirts for the MVP School of Executive Protection. It says it's better to be a warrior in the garden than to be a gardener in the war. So, other words, it's better to be prepared. If somebody calls you and they need you to be armed for a detail, you got your license and whatever, you can rock and roll. But 98% of the executive protection jobs in the United States are unarmed executive protection details. Bet you didn't know that. Bet you didn't know that. 98% of the jobs in executive protection are armed. And the ones that are armed, most of the time, unfortunately, is people who work with entertainers and they're running around with AR rifles and all of this good stuff. I had some of my peers, some of my students to be arrested, and I told them, hey, you can't be carrying these guns, man. One of my students, two of my students are still in court right now. They got arrested in Chicago protecting a client. Client did not even bail them out of court. The client did not pay for their lawyer fees. And I said, but they required you to be armed. He said, yeah. And the client didn't even ask him about the arrest later on because the client was actually they went out to get something to eat. Client didn't say, "Hey, what happened?" Nothing. Y'all need a lawyer. They didn't even offer his lawyer at a discounted rate, full rate, anything. He never even had a conversation about what happened with them. They just got arrested, and then today they said that got me thinking. Well, if he didn't come bail us out. He didn't talk to us. He didn't give us no recommendation for lawyers. He didn't none of that. What if we shot somebody? What if we shot somebody? What would happen then? Now think about that. You shoot somebody, what happens then? You don't have no protection. You have zero protection. I'm going to talk about y'all about legal stuff for you guys in another live too. But I want you guys to realize that this is high risk. Sometimes depending on who you work with and how long you work, it's some high risk, high reward. Sometimes it's low risk, high reward. But a lot of times, when especially if you're working in sports and entertainment security, it's high risk, low reward. And that's it's okay. It's okay to work in it's okay to work low risk jobs. That's okay. I mean high risk jobs, but you got to get compensated for it. And it's okay to start somewhere. I always say, make sure when you get into the executive protection industry that you're not stuck in one place. Most people, most people's money, their revenue isn't even real money. It's the they're in there for the photo shots. You'll see a lot of guys with celebrities, they got somebody in the crowd, one of their security guards, one of their friends, somebody there at the club or whatever, taking video of them. So they can say hey, I was with Rick Ross. I was with Drake. I was with Quavo or whatever. I don't know, Quavo Huncher. I don't know all these damn people. I like oldies music. I like Marvin Gaye and Teddy Pendergrass and Aretha Franklin and Patti LaBelle and Gladys Knight, Michael Jackson, Barry White. Those kind of music I like. But anyway, they said they want to take pictures with these guys. They want to get in the video so that's their revenue to put it on Instagram so they can look like they're doing something. And I say everybody who's doing these guys, they're not doing security. You're walking them from the car to the VIP, from the VIP to the bathroom back to the VIP, and to the VIP from the car to the car. It's evident that you work in a club. You're in the club all the damn time. So you're not technically these guys bodyguards. However, there are a lot of guys who work in the club who become bodyguards because whoever they were, the VIP or the person the entertainer came to the club took a liking to them and put them on their security detail. That happens a lot. So I'm not gonna say that doesn't happen, but it doesn't make you a qualified bodyguard. And I got a lot of guys who say, I've been in this business for 18 years. And I did this, 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 this. I always say this, like the people I work with today, you start naming some of the A-list celebrity rappers and stuff like that, entertainers, the people that I work with today wouldn't even know who the F they are. I'm talking about so the people I work with today, they probably wouldn't know who Drake was. I'm gonna be honest with you. They wouldn't know who Rick Ross were. They would, but these people are the top tier of the U.S. government that we're working with. They wouldn't know. They wouldn't have a clue who these people are. So they say, Mr. Key, that a lot of people call me Mr. Key. I insist on it. I've been doing this for 30 years. And you come in and call me Mel, you're trying to be my friend and not get a job. And that's the best way to try to not get a job with me or any opportunity or look is try to be my friend. My name is not Melvin. My name is not bro or dog. None of that. My name is Mr. Key if you want a job with me. I've earned that. So, um, But a lot of people try to bro their way through it. And my question is, if you've been in this business for 15, 18 years, why you ain't never go to a class? That's not, do you don't find that embarrassing that you didn't went to a class at all? I think that's a problem. Like the best in the game, what do they do? How do they perfect their skills? Do they practice? Yeah, I tell you, they go through training, they can practice, they got a coach. So most of them got a mentor. You know, Stephen Curry, go down the greatest 3-point shooter of all times, has a shooting coach. Tiger Woods had a golfing coach. Boxers, they got coaches. Cuz the model, they got all of this stuff. But in the executive protection world, we can feel like we wing it. We can wing it. You know what wing is going to get a lot of people? Sued, in jail, killed, or one of their teammates or their principal killed or injured in the line of duty. And if you work with somebody, you want to work with professionals. I always say, you look at right now, it's the NFL season started today, right? Cowboys and Eagles. I don't know who won, but that's a team. And when it comes down to the Super Bowl, they got the best 11 or 22 people in the world on that team. Those are the kind of people I want. I don't want a spades hand two and a possible. I want the best flipping team that I can assemble. And those people who have invested in themselves, and the people who don't take training and don't go to classes, those people, they are possibles. Really, they're not even possibles, especially when you start talking, you've been in the business 18, 20 years, you never took a class. Tell me what is the logic and what's the reason behind doing that? Tell me. Because here's the thing, if you don't take yourself serious, how you expect someone else to take you serious? Especially people who've elevated to the top of their game by taking themselves serious. Um, so you guys don't wing it. If you got a job, you got a couple of jobs doing security in the club, or somebody put you on with a celebrity here or there, just take it as this, man. I got an opportunity, and that was good. What if I apply myself? What do I want to be? Do you just want to work with entertainers in the club? I'm telling you right now, I got into a squabble with some guy who jumped on a Facebook post and said, "You know what? I never did like you. I think you a clown and all the stuff you post. I laugh at all of the stuff you post." And I said, "Well, you laugh at all the stuff I posted? Yeah, I laugh at all the stuff you post." I said, "There must be something that you like about it because you laugh at all." The key word was all the stuff I post. If I didn't like you, I wouldn't even visit your page. I'm honestly, I would just block. I hate this month. Let me just block him out because I don't want to see him. I can't stand his guts, can't stand his face. But if you watch everything and then you laugh, you think it's a joke, it must be something that intrigues you about who I am. Because while you going on here saying this, you're on my page. I never knew about you at all before you came on my post on my page with a negative comment. So that lets you need. Girl, you must be a fan. So but it goes to this guy. Oh, it goes down to he says, yeah, well, I ain't never. He said I've been doing this business for 32 years and I ain't never seen you on no tours. And I said, you definitely don't know who I am because I ain't been on a tour in 20 years. I've been doing this for 30 years. I quickly got out of this celebrity shit because that wasn't for me. I don't like being up at night. I don't like being around criminal stuff. I don't want people smoking weed in my car. You know what I mean? I don't need to jump in the picture living vicariously through a celebrity who got a whole bunch of problems with family, drugs, attitude, and a whole bunch of other shit going on with them. I want my money to be easy and I want to go home at the end of the night. And a lot of these guys are from the streets or they got stuff going on, they beefing with each other, and it's highly likely that you get killed. And for most cases, it's for like $250 to $300 a night. When I got people who pay $250 an hour, and this is literally true. A guy they asked me to like 2 weeks ago to I was supposed we supposed to went out last week. They finally got back with me after it was too late. They said, well, we're gonna go from this place to this place, and how much would you charge? I told them $3,500 a night. I said 35, yeah, 3,500 is out of the country, bro. I mean, what you asking me to go out of the country? And they said, well, okay, if I gotta pay for the hotel, well, first it was 3,000. I said 3,000 because I can make 2,000 here a night. I'm going out of the country, add another 1,000. Then they said, well, they want you to pay for the hotel room. Okay, then the hotel room, they're not going to stay in a 5-star hotel and put me in the comfort inn, 10 miles away because I'm their EP agent. When they're ready to move, I need to be ready to move. So I need to be in the same building as they are. So, and I'm not going to stay in no rinky dink ass hotel. So wherever they are is where I am. So just build that price into my number. That's what it is. It's $3,500 a night. Take it or leave it. Because for real, I don't have to go anywhere. If somebody calls me up right now and say, "Hey, I got $500, $600, or $700, maybe 800," I might not even move for $800 because I don't need the money. You understand what I'm saying? But for somebody, $800 a night is a lot of money. I don't need the money. I definitely ain't going nowhere for $500 a night. I'm just not gonna say I won't. It got to be the right client when I'm not working, where I'm not pushing through crowds and dealing with people's attitudes and people smoking weed and all of this stuff, disrespecting me. Because a lot of these celebrities, they just disrespect the people that work for them, their assistants, their bodyguards, all of that stuff. Hey man, get my suitcase. Hey man, didn't I tell you? And people like, oh, that's the boss, and they quiver up like, hold up, player, I'm a man first, and you can watch who you talking to and how you talking to me because I'm here to protect you. And if me and you got beef, ain't nobody can protect you from me. So you better watch how you talking to me. So that's some of the kind of stuff you got to deal with. Not to say every celebrity is like that, but a lot of them are. And you got to put your feet in the ground and take a stand for something. And I started this by saying, if you work in executive protection, if you work in executive protection, you can't the moment you get in, you got to think, okay, all right, this was my stepping stone to get in. I don't want to be stuck here. I don't want to be typecasted. I said today that Chris Rock couldn't get a Denzel Washington role because all people know is him as Chris. He couldn't take no serious role. He couldn't do that at all because nobody gonna take him serious because he's been joking his whole life. But Denzel Washington can get a Chris Rock role in a minute. They listen. He wouldn't even have to audition. They was like, well, can we start filming tomorrow? Can you be on this film? Here's $30 million because it's Denzel Washington because he covers all genres. Once you get into executive protection, once you start running with celebrities, you start to take on that mindset. You start neglecting your training or not even taking the training, thinking that you're good enough. That is where you're going to be stuck your whole entire career. That's just the honest to God truth. So I caution you guys, don't take that path. Find some reputable training. And yeah, do like I said earlier, I think my course is the best in the world. If not in the world, in the United States, I put it up against anybody, curriculum for curriculum, pound for pound. And if you the greatest people, remember Muhammad Ali, they got mad with Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali said, I'm going to show you how great I am. I'm the baddest, the prettiest of all time. This is what it is. If you don't speak life into yourself, nobody else will. But I can tell you this, for you guys who follow me, just go follow some of the people. Go look on my Instagram posts. Anything that I talk about my class, just look at the people. Say, this is the best decision I ever made in my life. I'm glad I went to this course. I learned so much. So I'm going to big up my course. If I want you to go to a course, I want you to go to my course specifically, not for the money, but because of what you'll learn. Not only what you'll learn, also who you will meet. In my courses, there are people who come from Fortune 500 corporations. They send their agents to my school to learn. And in my classes, there are people who own security companies. There are people who are already doing executive protection work that say, you know what? I need to step my game up. I've never been to a class, but I want to go to something because I don't want to be typecasted. I don't want to be a Chris Rock trying to pursue a Denzel role, but don't have the credentials or the experience in a Denzel role. So I'm going to go to a class. And these people are sitting in a room in the classroom for 4 or 5 days, and they're getting to know each other. And they're starting to bond and gel right there in the classroom. So when a lot of people come to the classroom to be in my presence thinking that they can get an opportunity with me, there's a very small percentage of people that do, but the people who do get the percentage, and I say a small percentage because I'm looking for the best people. There's a school, I'm not even going to say the name, but they say they graduate 87% of their people get job opportunities. I think I call cap on that because anybody that passes 87% of the people are just trying to pass people to say that they pass 87% of the people. You wouldn't give one a school. You wouldn't, I don't care if you was a photographer, you bake cakes or whatever. Yeah, you might hope for 100%, but truthfully, you don't want 100% of the people passing, because then that means like anybody can bake your cakes. This is easy. Anybody. That means that you accept anybody. But nah, we don't want anybody. We want the best people. So our percentage is not 80%. It might be 20%. Some cases is lower than that. If we have 15 students, 20 students, we might get 3 to 5 that are really good, solid people. And out of those 3 to 5, maybe only 2 of them will make it long term. Not that anything was wrong with the other 3. They may not apply themselves anymore. Life might take them off to a different course, so they never really came to take this seriously anyway. But they were infatuated with. They got in it. They had a little success with it, and then they just roll out. Life just takes them a different course. But there will be 2 of those people who are going to be kick ass people that you can take the distance with you. And those are two. I'd rather have those 2 people than 87% of my flipping class graduating and saying that they went to my school. And in my school, we have 2 different certificates. I'm going to tell you, I used to get the certificates out in the class, but then it was if some people were saddened by it, right? Because it's like, okay, everybody who plays on the football team gets a trophy, even if they sat on the bench. Don't work like that. And if you start passing everybody that goes through your school and everybody gets the same certificate, what good is your school? So we've came up a couple of years ago with 2 certificates. You get a gold, you got a silver. Gold means that when we give you the certificate with this gold seal on it, that you can go out that door and you can apply for a job. And with our recommendation that this person has met the fundamental skills, character skills, this person can go on a detail and start working. The silver doesn't mean that you failed, when some people should just outright fail, but the silver just is a certificate of attendance. You were in there. Doesn't say that you can't work in executive protection, but the silver on the recommendation we would give is that this person right now is has completed the course, can work in corporate security or event security details, but is not ready to go out on their own or with a team as an executive protection agent. And I think that's fair. I think that's fair. If you have in a class that give you have to give 2 separate certifications, because everybody are not equal, be it alike. So that was our intent with that, and that's our purpose with that, and that's how we're going to continue to roll. Because we want the best people, and ultimately, when you go out that door, your name, my name might, my name is on that certificate, which means that that's my stamp of approval. And if you a piece of garbage, or you barely paid attention in class, and you got a gold certificate or a certificate that says completion, and you went out there and you went and applied for a job, and then you went and messed that up royally, they can say, man, what is Key over there? What is he doing over there? What is the securities are? He can't be no security guy. He putting out product like this. So that's something that I that I really dead set on, to holding that standard on the line. We're gonna hold people accountable. We're gonna have the highest training standard, the highest ethical requirements, and for people who coming through these courses, because we want to put out a good product. One, because our name is on it. Two is because I want you to go out here and be very, very successful. You spent your time in these classes and your money in these classes. I want you to be successful. That's just the net of it. So I said I wasn't gonna stay on that long tonight, because I have to travel 45 minutes tomorrow, and I need to be on scene early. So if you guys have any questions, type them in the comment section. I'll answer them. Let's see what else that I could talk about. So we talk about some of the myths, talk about guns, we talk about size, we talk about police officers, we talk about military veterans. Um, any questions in particular that y'all have for me? And while I'm doing this, I'm gonna read through some of the comments. LL said you're a wealth of knowledge wrapped in experience. The benefit is ours. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that, L. I really do. I used to tell companies I don't answer my phone for less than $50 an hour. That was when I first started. 100% L. When I first started, I quickly raised my rates. This message gets out, and yeah, you're right. You're right. You are 100% right. So at $50 an hour is a really good rate because I say any a regular work year, there's 2,080 hours in a work year. If you had a career job and you wouldn't punch the clock every day at $50 an hour, your salary would be $104,000 on a year, which is good money, which is good money. So $50 is good. $40 to get you around about $90,000 a year. So that's not bad. If you're doing armed, you should probably, be a lot more than that. So I just honestly, I ain't gonna tell you no lie. I was, my security firm is doing well, but I just seen the opportunity that I think I could take advantage of. I think I'm gonna put my son or one of my peers as the CEO of my company if this thing comes through. But I found a job today. Uh, that just somebody sent me said, "Man, you should apply for this," and I don't need the job, but I thought, okay, this is pretty good. Um, the job was $250,000 a year. So I sorry, this fits in with my 2 years plan because I don't want to be running this company in 2 years. So what I'm going to do is I put in for the job. I'm going to take for 2 years. I don't need the money, so I'm just going to save the salary. So 250,000 for 2 years is 500,000 in 2 years. I'm going to step down from their position as a very high level manager of an executive protection operation. So I think I'm going to take that job for 2 years if it works out, um, let somebody else run my company. I'll still do the training schools, and then I'm going to retire. And hopefully, enough of you guys have come through the school. I'll still come and do the training schools, but enough of you guys have come through the school that I can start putting you in positions that you can win. Uh, Honestly, that's my goal to have an army of people. If I die, I'll never die because I have a whole bunch of me's running around and not from parental rights, but being a father, but more or less being a mentor and a coach in this industry where I can say I can put my stamp on you. If somebody calls and say, who do I call in Chicago, or who do I call in Miami, or who do I call in New York? I can say, call this guy or call that guy, call that girl. And I don't want to make this guy girl stuff, but call this person. I like to imprint on you guys so that you can be successful. Yeah, thank you, Lee. That's right, Wildcard. Thank you for I just seen you on it. Thank you for coming on too. CDL, I appreciate you too. What CDL? Is that Terrence? I got a lot. Sometimes I got people who on here to follow me on different platforms and they got different names on different platforms. Um, I think that's it. If there's no questions, guys, I may wrap up with that so I can get some sleep. But tomorrow's Friday. Today is Thursday. I'm on today. Okay, CDL. I'm on today because I wasn't on yesterday. I don't know what I'm gonna talk about tomorrow. We talked about guns a little bit today. There is something, I don't know how many of you guys own, I'm not saying insurance companies, security companies. I do want to talk about insurance for security companies because nowadays, and I just found this out, I renewed my insurance a couple of days ago, and I found out everywhere I was sending after 21 years in security business, I was sending my renewal. People were turning me down for insurance. I'm like, I haven't had a loss or a claim in 21 years. Why are you turning me down? Our credit is good, our business credit is good, our cash flow is going. Why are you turning me down? And then one person says, because you have all of the stuff about executive protection on your website. Now, the reason why insurance companies are in business is because they're supposed to insure. That's not the reason. The reason they're in business is because they want to make money. But the reason they're supposed to be in business is to insure you so that you can run your security company. But here's what security insurance companies are doing. Uh, okay, L, I got you. Here's what insurance companies are doing. They're turning people down if you have executive protection on your website. If you are doing concerts and festivals, they are turning you down. And one of those reasons are because of what happened in Astro World. If you are a security company, you will get sued if something happens at a concert or a festival because you were the person who was supposed to prevent it from happening. And what these concert and festival people, promoters, and organizers do, they require security companies to have sometimes $9 million worth of coverage. They want you to have, 200 people, but a lot of people don't have 200 people on their staff. And so when they get this contract, instead of security planning, what you're actually doing, they give you, hey, this event is October 1st. We need 200 security guards before by October 1st. And people say, okay, yeah. You start as a security company owner, you start thinking about the money. 200 people times 20, 30, $30 an hour, how much money you can make. And then you say, okay, let me get the people. But you're getting people based on the money that you want to make and not on the qualifications that they have. And so at this point, they're hiring anybody that can put on a pair of BDUs and a t-shirt that says security on it. And those people are unqualified and oftentimes unlicensed. And you start putting those people in there, they start coming to these festivals, and all they really wanted to do was to come to the festival anyway. And they start leaving their posts. They start doing all kind of crazy stuff. You putting them at access control points. They taking $100 here, $50 in, letting people slide in through the gate. So then when things go crazy, and let's say a stampede happens, somebody get crushed, somebody gets shot or everything, they sue the security company. Now, as a security company, you have put on your insured, an additional the promoter and the organizer and all of these people. You put them on your insurance liability certificate of insurance as an additional insured. So when the people sue, the first people they sue is the security company. And then you get into a court of law and they start saying, well, what were your emergency operations procedures? How many supervisors did you have? How many managers did you have? What was your protocol for active shooter? What was your protocol for stampede? How were you controlling access? What certifications? How many people did you have? Were all of them licensed? Do you have copies of their license? What kind of training did you give them? You see where this shit is going? And all of a sudden you left holding the ball, and you put all these people on your $9 million insurance certificate of insurance, and when they sue your ass. And if the insurance company pays out anything, they're going to drop you like a hot potato. And then when you go to apply for insurance anywhere else, you won't be able to get insurance. Nobody else will bother with you because you are high, super high risk, and they just had to pay out $9 million or whatever it is because all of this shit fell in your lap. Because instead of trying to get the right people, you were trying to get people. And instead of handling your business as a security company, saying, hey, we need to have meetings with the law or the local police, we need to have the fire department or EMS on scene. We need to talk about what happens with an active shooter. If there's a storm, a lightning strike, what happens? Do we shelter in place? What if somebody overheats because of heat stroke or all of this kind of stuff, all the things that could happen. What happens if a fight? What's the emergency response? What's the emergency exit route? How do we communicate? You got 200 people around, nobody has a radio. There's they say, okay, they tell you need 200 people, but yeah, give me 5 supervisors. Five supervisors can't supervise 200 people. This is something that's called the not the chain of command, the span of control. Any one supervisor can only effectively supervise 8 to 10 people. Period. 8 to 10 people. So they give you 5 supervisors, maybe one or two security managers, and then they say run this, and 20,000 people show up, and you trying to run this concert and festival when all shit break loose. All at the end of the day, it is on you. Thank you, L. Thank you, Wild. I'm just trying to keep it real, man. And so, and then they want to pay you pretty much minimum wage, and we getting in negotiating because we don't want anybody else to get a contract. I think this is so insane. So I want to be able to talk about security from a broad perspective. I talk about executive protection a lot because that's my specialty, but I started a security company with a laptop and an ironing board, man. And I've been through all kinds of stuff: retail security, construction security, private investigation, residential security, estate security. I've done just about all levels of security that you can imagine. So I can talk about it from any angle. And I think L or somebody asked me about pricing. I want to go back to that, and then I'm going to jump off. Oh, you said sales aspect. When you say sales aspect, tell me give me a brief what you want me to talk about, and I'll jump in and I'll give a little spill on it, and then what we don't cover in the next couple of minutes, I'll cover on the next live. Lamar said, what did you get sued? Lamar, you just went through this. Yeah. So nobody has 200. CSC has 200 people, but if you ever watched that, I don't know why. So where was that? Maybe it was on the Astro World. I think it was on next Netflix. If you guys are working security, watch the Astro World documentary, and you'll see, man. The guy says, "Well, I got hired that day. They give me no training. They just say stand here, do this." That's what happens. That's what happens. Stand here, do this. And I'm not even gonna say that I'm not guilty of it. When I first started doing events, man, we need people. Hey, listen, you got 10 people, call somebody, man. Make sure they good people. But you already know how I operate. If they ain't good people, don't bring them because I'm gonna have a problem with you. So that's how it was. Get 10 people, get 10 people. As I started to grow, my company started to grow, my personnel started to grow, but I still didn't have 250, 300 people on on payroll. So what I decided to do is say, Mel, don't be greedy. You can still make money. Forge partnerships with other reputable security companies. That's what it is. All right. If they want 100 people, my company is going to bring 33 people. I'm going to have another company to bring 33 people. I'm going to have another company to bring 33 people. That's 99 people. We're missing one somewhere in the mix, but that's 99 people. That's 100 people. So you manage your 33 people, you have access control. You got the gates, you got the checkpoints, the magnetometers. That's your job. Your 30 people, your 33 people right here, you have perimeter security and incidents response. Your 33 people right here, you take care of the stage. And then you have the director of security, and then you have security managers under there, and then under those security managers, you have security supervisors. And fuck their budget. I don't care what your budget. Oh, that's not within our budget. I got price points too that I need to make this make sense. So these are the things that if you then don't worry about making the money. If they pay you $40 an hour, pay the people $40 an hour. You just get your $40 an hour for your 33 people. Or you could do it like this. They pay you $40 an hour, you pay them $35 an hour. So you still pulling off $5 an hour from this person, from this group of 33, and $5 an hour per person from the next 33. So you still make your money. And you can still have those people too. Hey, listen, you working under me as a subcontractor, you still need to have your insurance. And then you tell that company to put your company on their insurance rider as an additional insured. Because if their people mess up, then you're covered because you're on their insurance. And that's the way I do business. But you can do a lot of business like that in your particular city. If you find partners, you forge a genuine relationship where you're not backstabbing each other for each other's clients, but a genuine relationship, and put that in writing. I will not pursue your employees or your customers, and vice versa. Put that in writing, give them a contract, give them this is how much money you're going to get paid, and do business like that. And then when they have a big contract, they could tell somebody, their client, yeah, I got 100 people because they got two other security companies, your company and another company to do business with. And that's how you take over a city, and that's how you make a lot of money in event security. But a lot of these insurance companies are, if you have I had a person told me, if you have 500 attendees at an event, we won't insure you. If you go and do and ask for insurance and insurance um, policy, and say you do executive protection, if you say you do celebrities or you don't do arm, they won't insure you. They won't do anything high risk. Basically, it's like, what the hell they in business for? So they want you to do unarmed guards, and that's it. And that's what they're insuring you for. And if you so happen to get an insurance policy for armed stuff and executive protection, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. I can guarantee you that. Let me ask just a couple of more of these questions, and I'm out. Elle said, how is everyone involved in the sales aspect of security, maintaining clients through report writing, image vulnerability assessments, training, the whole shebang that involves maintenance. Well, so the sales part, right? So this is things that they're different parts of a sales process, right? So you have sales, marketing, advertisement, and branding. So your branding is your logo. My lapel pin fell off earlier. It's your branding, your logo, and kind of the stuff surrounded around that. It may be a mission statement or a value proposition. And then you have marketing. You have marketing, which is your branding goes on your marketing stuff. You might be using social media ads and stuff like that. Sales is really even B2B or P2P, right? So business to business, where you're actually making cold calls and you're actually going to knocking on doors, things like that. That is that. And so when you talk about sales, I tell people, don't cast a wide net. Don't have all of this stuff on your website. I do school security and construction security and apartment building security and this, and I understand why you do it, because you want somebody to Google search for all of this stuff to stumble across your website, and perhaps you get business. But at the end of each year, you need to look at your lines of business or what you do, and you need to look at each thing that you say you do on your website. How much, how profitable was that for you during the year? How much sales did you do in construction security? How much did you do in private investigation? How much did you do in event security? How much did you do in residential? Now, if you started going down that list and you only did a couple of $1,000s on this and a couple of $1,000s on this, but you did a couple of $100,000 on certain things, and year after year you making the biggest profit in those things, guess what? You need to cut some of that other stuff off of your website and as line items in your business, because it's not making you money. And your intent is to draw people to your website, but they're not buying the stuff that's on the menu. So get that stuff off your menu. Focus down with laser like focus what you want to your business market, your business want to serve. Find the people in that market, kill it with the clients you got, and then use those clients as your mouthpiece, because most of my business, if not all of it, comes from repeat and referral business. All right. You didn't get sued, but we made the same mistake you're talking about. Okay, all right, cool. All right, man. We can talk about a lot, y'all. It's 12 o'clock. I really do love y'all. For the people who tune in every week, who like my comments, my post, comment on it, share it. I really appreciate it. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. For those of you who get a super chat, thank you for the super chats. If you decide to become a member of the channel, that would be great too. Join the Discord. For the member stuff, there's a lot of videos. I got a lot of videos loaded up right now, but I only show them to members only. So they get the members only first. You get to review them, have your comments or whatever. Check, consider becoming a member. That part is growing. I'm also going to be looking for team members soon on the social media stuff to help me push some of this stuff out. So I appreciate you all. Let me see what this last comment. I got my old eyes on. Awesome live. Glad I caught it. Thank you, that wild card. Appreciate it. Very interesting, good information. I wonder how the insurance work or covering shows. Hey, yep, no problem. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff we could talk about, man. Y'all shoot me the titles, and we whatever the topics, and I guarantee you we'll talk about it. If not on this live or the next live, we'll get to it eventually. But thank you guys for being fans. Thank you for being members and subscribers. Thank you for sharing my content, making the comments. You are the exact reason why I do this, and the only reason why I do this, to be honest with you. If you pursue something, you love it, all of the rewards will come later on. I'm not worried about money. I got a lot of subscribers. I got between 250 subscribers and followers between here and Instagram, but I don't do it for the money. I do it because I love it, and I do it because I help people out. And when you help enough people out get what they want, the universe will give you what you want. And I see my channel growing in profit, but more important in influence, and you being able to be an influencer in the right way without no drama and all that other stuff that comes with it. So I love you guys. Lamar, thank you. L, thank you for always chiming in. Wildcard, thank you guys. Otis, thank you. I love you. I will see you on the next live. I should be on tomorrow. My assignment should be over early tomorrow, and I'll be on. The Bungie Bunch, my man. I see Bungie in a couple of days. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. God willing, I know you guys work in security. You're probably working on Fridays, so we're gonna figure that work around so we can get this going on a more regular basis. All right, y'all. Good night. Talk to you soon. Peace.